So I spent some time. I've downloaded some raw photos, and basically, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go through. We're just gonna edit some raw photos and see, what we can make. So these are all photos that I found online. I'm on a website called Signature Edits, and yeah, so we're just gonna learn how to do all these little things over here. You'll see a slider on the side right here. So we're going to talk about how to get white balance, exposure, how to tweak the highlights, blacks, shadows, whites, texture, saturation, how to use the tone curve, super important, and how to use the HSL slider, and just a bunch more. Okay, so like I said, I'm grabbing a bunch of photos from the internet, just raw photos, and I'm going to import them, and I'm going to show you different styles, different types of photos that you can, shoot. So maybe some landscape, maybe some street photography, maybe some, action stuff. I'm downloading a ton of images, and I'm just going to kind of show you the basics. So, welcome everyone. I really appreciate you tuning in. My name's Brian, if you didn't know, and I have a company called Brian Joe Multimedia. I'd really appreciate it if you guys took the time to follow me on my social medias on Instagram, Brian Joe Multimedia, BRIANZHOU Multimedia, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. If you guys could take the time to go do that, because I really want to make sure I'm giving you guys something of value and we can trade. You can follow me and check out my work. And yeah, if you need any coaching on how to take better photos, or you're just starting out and you need some advice, don't be afraid to reach out to me. I'd love to help. And so yeah, we'll wait for a couple more minutes, make sure everyone's in here, and then we'll basically get started. So I want you guys to leave in the comments on Facebook or YouTube. Let me know how everything is going and what got you into photography. So I asked this earlier, and I want to see, what inspired you to, what about photography really catches your eye, and also how many years have you been doing it for? I want to get a gauge on how experienced people are that are taking a look at the stream. And however I can help you, I'd love to help. So yep. All right, so I'm gonna organize these images into a folder, and I'm gonna import it all into Lightroom. So this is not a retouching Photoshop tutorial. This is a basic color grading and just basic editing tutorial. I will do a tiny bit of retouching to kind of show you how it all works, but I'm not gonna retouching is in itself like a whole very in-depth process. I don't do a ton of retouching personally because I don't do a lot of editorial work, but if that's something that you do, it's really interesting and fun as well. So shout out to all you retouchers out there. It's a lot of work, especially when you're first starting out and learning. You don't have the settings in place. So all right, Pamela. Hey Brian, I'm shooting for the first time with my Sony Alpha 3 A7 III, but the prints aren't showing on my SD card when I look at it in my Nikon. What am I doing wrong? Okay, this is definitely a little off topic, but I think you're shooting tonight an event or something like that. So with Sony and Nikon, they're using different formats. So when you format your SD card, a different camera generally won't read. Unless you're shooting in RAW, sometimes they will read. But yeah, if you're shooting Sony, just make sure you're shooting Sony. You don't want to be shooting, two different cameras. If you import it to your computer, you'll be able to see those raw images then. But you're not going to be able to see it on camera sometimes, depending on which brands you're talking about. I don't have a lot of experience shooting with multiple different brands. I've only used Olympus, Canon, and Sony right now. So, Karen Beer, my man. This is a guy that I met in New Zealand. Really cool guy. I did a ton of hitchhiking, and I met him, and he let me stay at his place. We met on Facebook, and yeah, we got coffee, talked about photography, and he's a cool dude. Thanks, Karen Vera. Appreciate you tuning in, man. 6 years and counting. Started with a diploma in animation and VFX. Why are you doing more like animation and VFX stuff, dude? That is so, you can make so much money doing that. But anyways, like I said, I'm gonna organize everything into folders really quick, and then once I get that all sorted, I'm gonna import it to, yeah. Oh, this is a cool shot. We'll do a couple of these as well. I have a couple landscapes. I have a couple. Ooh, this is really cool too. Let's get one of these in. And then this is cool as well. Ooh, I like this shot. Astrophotography, that'll be interesting. Live. Ooh, product photography. We should get some of those in there. I think I'm going to do a couple edits for everyone. So everyone, you know, I'll do event edits. I'll do, you know, landscape edits. I'll do portrait edits, astrophotography edits. So, you know, everyone has a little idea of where to get started. Some of these photos I think are already edited a tiny bit, but since they're in RAW, oh, this is a good one. Very dark, but we'll be able to bring out a lot of colors and stuff. So, and if you want to get into weddings, I'll have some of those weddings as well. So I'm just downloading a ton of different photos here. And yeah, let's just see what we can do. This is a little overexposed for my taste. Color, this is interesting. And yeah, one more event. Sure, why not? We'll do these two. So I'm probably not gonna get to edit all of these photos, and I'm going to, yeah. I'm not going to edit every single one of these photos, but I'm going to pick the ones that I like the most, or the ones that are the hardest to edit. So if you've never used Lightroom before, all you got to do, File, Import Photos and Video, right? And then you want to go to wherever you like downloaded your stuff, right? So I'm going to click on Stream Edits because this is what I'm going to edit on stream today. So all you do is click Import, and then bam, address lookup. I don't care. I don't want you to find my address. Don't be creepy, y'all. So cool. So these are the photos that I took. I didn't take, but I took from the internet. These are all raw photos. Some of them are slightly edited. Some of them are completely unedited. So these unedited. Great. This is awesome. So we got some portraits here. We got some people, some weddings, some action. Ooh, studio shot. This is awesome. So, like, beautiful chick. Might do a little retouching on her. Cool shot, cool shot. I'm just checking through to make sure and see if any of these, this water looks kind of gross, but I'm sure that we can make it look really awesome. I just want to make sure that these are completely unedited. And if they are edited, I'll change it up, and I'll make sure that it doesn't have any profiles tacked onto the image. So, ooh, product. We definitely want to do this product one. This is super underexposed. This is slightly overexposed, in my opinion. And, all right, cool. So these are all really amazing. I want to make sure I have one of everything. So, cool couple, right? Cool, we got astrophotography, and then guys, I just want to say, if there's anything that you want me to edit, if you stay till the end, I want you to email me or send me a message on Twitter with a photo that you want me to edit. I will literally make you your own preset, basically preset right now, so that you can use for your own brand, or I'll teach you how to use it. As long as you guys keep commenting below, like, I will literally go through and make your brand edit for you. So if you're a business owner, or if you're an Instagrammer and you're like, I want a consistent, you know, edit, then I will do it for you live on stream right here to show you how to do it. And yeah, like different color palettes and stuff, I can do it all. So this is really good because if you can see, they shot it a little yellow, so we're gonna work on color balance right there. This is kind of gross looking. We'll see what we can work with that. This is a pretty typical wedding shot. Action shot, I think, is pretty cool. We're definitely gonna do some retouching on that a tiny bit. This is a studio shot. Definitely want to do that one. This is pretty cool, but it's already a really good photo. I don't know how much more we can do to it, but we'll just this looks like, oh, perfect. Yeah, so this is already edited. So this is the person's edit. Let's see if we can reset this. Yeah. So this is what it looked like originally. That's really interesting. So pretty decent edit. I like it. Let's see what we can do to it. So I'm gonna reset that. Cool. This is raw. I think it's okay. It's an okay-ish photo. We might be able to make these tattoos pop and look cool. Preset equal LUT. So my understanding of a preset is that it's something that you create and its settings are within the, it's kind of like, so with these sliders on the side, right? Everything that you set in here, like if you look at this, these are all presets. So like you have certain settings, right? And they do different things. So a preset is predetermined settings for these sliders that you have on the side. A LUT is a lookup table. And my understanding of it is that it's basically, yeah, it's basically a preset. Let's just be honest. It's basically a preset. From my understanding, it's for video, but I think it's for photo as well. I'll have to do a little bit more research on it. I don't want to blow steam up your butt. I'm not too familiar with like the difference between preset and LUT, but it's my understanding it's basically the same thing. Please leave a comment if you are more experienced in that and you're not sure. We can definitely do that a lot with this. Very contrasting colors. I like that. She's super underexposed. We can make that work really well. This is raw. I'm actually like, that's kind of crazy. This is very colorful for raw. So cool. Now I'm going to make the filters and I'm going to go to the rated ones. So these are the ones that I want to show you how to edit, right? Let's just start from this. It's like, if you're doing landscape photography, this is like an okay photo. I would prefer a person in the background. Some retouching and stuff like that would be pretty cool. But yeah, like I said, leave comments. If you want me to create a basic I'll show you how to edit for your own brand. Like I said, leave a comment on Facebook or YouTube. I'll see it on the bar on the side right here. I'll be able to edit for you on my Facebook post. You can find my Twitter, right? My Twitter is, let me just share it. It's twitter.com/BZ multimedia. That's my Twitter handle. And if you want to email me your photo that I can edit for you to show you how to get your own style, it's brian@brianjoemultimedia.com. So those are two places that you can send in your photos for me to edit today. I'll just hit refresh. But comment below and let me know that you sent it in so that I can create a brand for you. So let's start with something really, really simple, okay? Landscape is really simple. I don't do landscape much anymore, but I think it's really important that you make sure that the horizon is even. So, right, this angle, you can turn it like this, and you can choose, you can make it even like that. But I like this tool. It's called Angle, right? And you just click right here, and then you drag it across. This is the horizon. Bam. You want horizons to be like pretty centered, and when I'm done, it's like very straight and stuff like that. For a lot of landscape photography, I personally would bump up the contrast, bump up the clarity. Look at that. Everything is already starting to pop. So if you look at this, I barely did anything, right? So we're going to start with landscape photography. Texture, probably increase the texture a little bit. But if you go too far on any of these, it's going to look a little ridiculous. But when you're starting out, don't be afraid to, really go for it. Your photos are going to suck at first when you first start editing. Don't be afraid to push the limits on what looks good. Try your best, obviously, but if it doesn't look great when you first start, don't worry about it. Just keep improving, right? With these, you can, turn these up. So these are, if you were with me yesterday, all, basically what all of these are, right? So exposure, it's how bright it is, right? So you can make it really dark. You can make it really bright. Contrast, it's just the amount of difference between light and dark, right? So there's no contrast there. There's contrast there. Something like this might be good for something like maybe like an 80s vibe. It's a little dull, you know, or 50s vibe where you have some film grain. You're trying to make it look like, you know, an old photo. Modern photos, usually a little bit more contrasted. Also, photo purists, okay, they say whatever you get in camera is what you should have. That's the most natural look. That's actually not true. Your camera shoots a little more flat. So what flat means is that there's not as much color, there's not as much contrast, because it allows you to process the information afterwards and bring those colors out, bring that contrast out so that you can customize your image. That's why cameras shoot more flat and less sharp, so that you can tailor the image to what you want. Right? I might have accidentally messed this up, actually. That's the horizon, eh? Okay, I did do it right. Cool. Yeah. So, highlights, right? It's the bright part of the image. Whites, it's the white part of the image, right? So if you turn up whites, huge contrast, and then shadows, obviously the darker parts, right? But blacks makes it really dark, right? So something that I do want to touch on with so texture, just like, so if you look at this, it looks really dreamy, so you could potentially make some dreamy photos, and then texture really brings that out. And then this, same thing. It's just like I don't know how to explain it exactly. You'll have to play with the settings, but it's just like, it kind of like makes specific parts more contrasted, right? Versus texture, which creates more, it's all, I mean, photos are basically just light, right? So it's all, do you ever drag the histogram? Yeah, I can if I want. No, but generally, Vance, I don't drag the histogram. I usually use my sliders the most. I almost never like grab the histogram and drag it like that. But if you want to, it's a personal preference kind of thing. They do exactly the same. If you look at the slider, and if you look at this, I'm still dragging highlights. It's exactly the same. And so dehaze is really good for if you're going through glass or you're shooting through something. I don't know if I have any images here that is shooting through glass. So we'll definitely get to this, and I think this would be a good time to talk about dehaze a little bit more. So let's just bring up that, and just that way you can see, you know, what it does to the glass. It, like, basically these all create a little more specific area contrast in your image, right? If anyone knows better terminology than that, please drop it in the comments below. So something about vibrance, okay? It brings out colors that are already, I would say, so my understanding is that vibrance makes the colors that are already potent even more potent. And then saturation, like, increases, like, it's more powerful in a sense that it can increase and decrease the colors entirely, right? So it's the ones that you don't see as much of. I think I'll leave a link for the description between vibrance and saturation after the stream ends, so that you can kind of get a better clarification. But basically, what I like to do with let's just start editing this. So with the histogram, you generally want to have everything in the middle, right? You don't want to have too many things clipping. So this is like if you're a beginner, right? You don't want to have too many things clipping. So raise the contrast. So Karen Veer says, vibrance increases the color intensity without destroying the photo. Okay, what about saturation? So some people like to bring down the highlights, right? And then bring up the shadows. And if you look at what's happening to the photo, this is the original photo, right? We're already getting a lot more contrast in the photo. And bringing up the whites, bring the blacks down. or you can even bring it up. But with these photos, good, a little more texture. Boom, that looks great. A little more texture. Bam, look at how good the photo looks already, right? Just tweaking these small little settings are really good. Something to note about white balance is easy way to do white balance. Find something white in the image, click on the eyedropper, bam, and then click on the white part. It's gonna set your settings to exactly what you want, right? So white balance is the color temperature of everything. So let's reset this and just, take a look at it, right? So if you want things to be more blue, right, tungsten, you can take it down that way. You can really create moods, right? So the bluer something is, the more relaxing or maybe just like depressing. It depends on the mood that you're going for, right? Warm and happy, right? And then this slider I generally use to emphasize skin tone. So sometimes skin might be a little magenta, it might be a little too green. I generally use this slider for skin tones, to correct skin tones. But what you can do is play around with it and see. You can create very themed. So if you look at a lot of 50s photos, they tend to skew a little bit green or magenta, and a lot of, like, depending on the film that you get. So you can play with those as well. Super, super interesting, really fascinating. I think it's really great. So generally you want your whites to be white, and you can change everything as you go too. So something to know. So Karen Veer says, saturation increases the vibrancy as well, but if used a lot, it can make the colors blow out in the image. Yes, I do agree with that. That's spot on. Thanks, man. I really appreciate you coming in, saving the day with those exact descriptions. You can be my encyclopedia today if I can't find the exact words for it. It is so toasty in my room. So yeah, I usually like to bring up the vibrancy. I don't do saturation as much, but for landscape photos, I think it's okay to bring up the saturation a little bit more than on other stuff, right? So pretty simple. Look at what the image was before. Look at what the image is now. Wow, look at like how much it pops, right? It's pretty crazy. Just like these simple adjustments on this one tab, huge difference, right? And so this is really interesting. A lot of people don't actually know how to use this, and this can get very, very complicated. So if you look at different parts of the image, right, this is called a tone curve. And so what I'm playing with right now, when it's white on this white line right here, right, I can change, these are the midtones. So I'm specifically changing the midtones right here, but everything else changes as well. So down here, I'm changing the blacks and shadows, right? So I can create more contrast. So this is a very typical tone curve to create more contrast. It's called an S curve, right? It even has these like default settings, which is medium contrast, right? And then strong contrast. There are presets all here for you, but this is like a basic S curve. If you want to go a little Instagram-y, you crush the blacks, bring the blacks up a little bit. You can see how everything is fading in the blacks right here. That's a very Instagram-y vibe, right? You just bring these blacks up, and then I would even go, you can even bring it out here, right? So a lot of people doing Instagrams, they crush the blacks and crush the whites, right? And it creates a really soft image. So I'm going to be honest, this is a little over edited for my personal taste, but I'm just showing you exactly what, how everything works, right? So this doesn't have a lot of color in it, but HLS slider, super, super powerful. When we get more into color, I'll show you the red tone curve, the green tone curve, and the blue tone curve as well. There's so much power in this little curve right here. And you can customize images like crazy. It's unbelievable. So this hue, saturation, luminance, right? HSL sliders, amazing, very powerful. So if you have any, there's no red in this image, but if you look, I'm basically changing all of the oranges and I can make it whatever color I want. Really cool, right? So yellows, I can change the yellows to whatever color I want. Obviously red or green, right? Within those ranges, right? Sometimes you don't have any greens, blues. So a lot of people do this. They'll go teal and they'll make things orange, right? Teal and orange is a pretty common thing. But yeah, so you can play with these sliders and you can change a bunch of stuff, like every color in the spectrum on here, right? You can also turn how saturated each specific part is. So if I wanted the orange to really pop, bam, but I probably want this part to be, you know, yeah. So you can change the saturation even. Like you can just isolate specific colors, right? So let's say a lot of Instagrammers do this. They'll crush the blues, they'll make it teal, right? And this has like a really, you can even darken it, and that springs out a lot of information in the background. So luminance is back here, right? So saturation, obviously how much color, the color intensity right here. Hue just changes which color is shown through that specific color tone. And then luminance is how bright those colors are. So you can blow it out, make it really white. You can darken it, super, super moody. If you can see, this is the before, this is the after. You're getting a lot of contrast on the sides here. Everything is looking really unique. I'm bringing a lot of different colors out, right? Looking really interesting. You can go dark, and yeah, man, this is amazing. I love it. I prefer people. If you know this about me, I prefer photos with people in it. So take a photo, have somebody just walk in, set your camera down, put it on a timer, walk through it right in the middle. It's really cool. I actually have a photo like that on my Instagram. Let's go to my IG. Wow, this is really zoomed in. Let's see, where is it? So one right there. This is when I was in New Zealand. Man, my style's changed a lot. Pretty similar photo. I was using a terrible camera at the time. I was shooting in JPEG. I didn't know how to color grade. Pretty awful picture if you look at this image compared to that one, right? New Zealand's beautiful, but for this specific photo, I didn't do very well. Yeah, I didn't really know how to color grade. Some of them were okay, but yeah, that's kind of embarrassing. All right, let's do something with people in it. All right. So this is slightly overexposed and this is slightly edited too. Oh God, that's the edit. I apologize for whoever edited this photo. I don't prefer your edit. I know what you're going for. The light, airy, like vibe, not my style. It's okay. I don't like it a lot. So see how everything is up here? Like I said at the beginning, you want to make sure that you have everything on the histogram nice and in the middle. So this is probably the best exposure if you were to shoot this photo right out of camera, right? Everything is squeezed in the middle. You got a little valley. Looks perfect, right? So let's just correct all these photos. Super, super dark, right? Let's reset it. Just make sure that no one edited. All right. So again, exposure, super underexposed. We want to bring this. Ooh. ISO is pretty poor. If you can look at, this is actually perfect. So there's a ton of noise. ISO is probably pretty high. Let's see. Oh, ISO is 100, 6 millimeters. Oh, this might have been film. 1/12,000th of a second shutter speed. Okay, if these are the actual settings, these are terrible settings. But I will show you how to clean this photo up, right? So we're just talking about exposure specifically, right? So this is highly contrasted in both directions, right? So you generally want to, bring it up a little bit. I see what they were going for. You can definitely bring the highlights down, shadows up, right? And you get a lot more detail. So you're moving everything into the middle so you can get the full contrast of what everything looks like, right? With astrophotography, like let's just get this horizontal line straight because I am OCD as heck. Perfect. That's a straight line. Beautiful image. I think the stars are very, very clear. What are these settings? ISO 3200, 20 millimeter, f1.4, 13-second exposure. So if you guys listen to my podcast yesterday, Karen Veer, dude, yeah, send me one. What's your email again? Here, I'll just post my email right here. It's Brian at brianjoemultimedia.com. Bam. So, that's my email address, guys. If you want to send me an image, I'll drop my Twitter as well. Yeah, perfect. I'll drop my Twitter as well. So feel free to email me or tweet me your images, and I will do custom edits for you using my personal style. And I actually have a preset over here, and I'll teach you how to... That's pretty cool, actually. That preset's pretty dope. I'll teach you how to create your own preset for yourself if you want, right? So these are just like little presets that I have. Everyone goes through a Brandon Wolfel phase. Ooh, these actually look pretty good. Tooting my own horn here. That's pretty sweet. Okay. Yeah, some of these are my wedding edits, and I just have them right here. So, cool. Let's go back to portrait. So we're doing a portrait photo. I don't think this is a good photo. Crop the elbow out. We talked about not cropping limbs out, right? So the person should have stepped back a little bit. The framing isn't great. I would have shot a little farther away. Maybe had the symmetry of the road converging, right? So this isn't a great photo. I'm going to be totally honest. And so let's see what we can do. Exposure's good. Contrast up. Let's do a little S curve here. Just a basic S curve, right? I like to bring the highlights down a little bit, and I like to bring the darks up a little bit. So I'm editing to my style, so you can already see huge difference, right? Bring the highlights down, shadows up, so we can see the face, right? So you want your subject to pop. So that's why I always bring the highlights down, because the highlights are usually the sky, the background, the scenery behind it, right? Maybe whites up a little bit, darks down a little bit. I want some contrast in the face. So before, after so far. For portraits, I actually like to bring the texture down a little bit and then the clarity up. So what this does to me, this is what I prefer, right? So these are just like personal preference, right? So you can see texture, right? It softens the face a little bit. So clarity brings up, right? And then texture softens the face a little bit. I like when the face is slightly soft, but you have detail there, right? So I think it's already looking pretty decent. Turn the vibrancy up just a tiny bit. It's looking a little cheesy, so I'm going to bring the saturation down, because once I bring the vibrancy up, I like to bring the saturation down a tiny bit. Again, this is how I personally edit. Let's see, are there any reds in the photo? So if you look at her face right here, when I drag the reds, she has flesh tones, right? These flesh tones are a little... I don't prefer people have really aggressive redness in their face, so I'll usually go a little bit more orange, right? And so for this, orange is the rest of her body. I'll go a little bit... I'll go a little bit right there, and then I like to darken... I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of greens personally, so I usually like to take the greens and change them to be a little bit yellow. So this aqua is a little too, like, I don't know, I feel like it's too bright for me, so I'll usually... So the thing with editing, I just want to emphasize, a lot of it is personal style, right? There's no correct way to edit as long as your photo looks good. That's basically it. We can go a little more teal right here. Let's go a little blue on her shirt right here. Teal for the sky. Teal and orange. Very common in film, very common in a lot of photography. So if we're talking about colors specifically, complementary colors, so colors that are opposite on the color wheel, those will contrast each other heavily and will look amazing on photos. So if I'm correct, it's red and green, blue and orange, purple. Wait, I'm just going to bring it up. I don't know what I'm saying. Color wheel. Bam. So if you look at this, teal, orange, blue, orange, right? Purple, yellow, pink, green, red, green. Really good color wheel. Yep. So when you use opposites, red, orange, blue, green, yeah, orange and teal, right? It contrasts those colors. So you want to generally do that. Your color palette should be some variation of complementary colors. A lot of amazing photographers do this, right? So if we look at this beginning, edit so far, right? And then we can bring the reds. We can either saturate it or a little bit or not. Sent you a Canon RAW. Ooh. I like skin tones to be a little more saturated, and I also like to bring the luminance up because, again, we want the person to pop, right? So I enjoy having and when you turn up saturation, you want to compensate, when you turn up luminance, the brightness of the color, you want to saturate a little more because when you darken or lighten a color, you lose saturation generally. So you want to change that, right? So yellow is fine, saturation, let's bring down. Green, down, teal, down, blue, down, cool. Let's bring down the saturation. Teal, cool. Cool. All right, I'm going for a moody vibe. All right, so we're going to talk about split toning right now. Split toning is really interesting, okay? I need water. Oh, boy. I need air conditioning. Yo, thumbs up if you guys have air conditioning. Frowny faces if you don't have air conditioning. Sad emojis. All right. So this is what we had. This is what we have, right? So split toning is really interesting. So you can color the highlights. So everything that is on this side of the histogram, and then you can color the shadows, which is this side of the histogram, right? And you can color those specific things. So let's say I want to choose a color. If you click on this box right here in Lightroom, right, all of the highlights are changing to the color that I set. So if I'm trying to go for, let's say I'm trying to go for a little bit of like an 80s vibe, right? So we're going to go a little greener, a little teal, right? So this is the highlight specifically. And you can obviously turn up the saturation. That's a lot, right? So that's pretty interesting. Look at what we've done to the photo, right? So even just the shift right here, we changed the whole photo a little bit more green, right? Now we're going to contrast the shadow, right? So what do we want the shadow to look like? So let's talk about contrasting colors, right? So orange and teal. So we're going to go a little far on this. We're just going to go for it, right? We're doing orange and teal. So this is a very stylized photo. And you can go more orange or you can go more teal, right? You can choose your preference or you can do something in the middle. Wow. Like this is a pretty sick photo already, right? Pretty dope. We got the mood. I might actually turn up the brightness a little bit. So if you want moody, you can go dark. If you want a little brighter, you can go that. I don't know, man. I kind of like this dark. I kind of like it a little bit dark. Let's bring it up just a tiny bit. Yeah. Maybe even bring that lights up. Yeah. And then crush the blacks a little bit. And look at before, after, right? We're creating a very, very stylized photo. And we're using teal and orange, right? Orange in the shadows, teal in the highlights, right? So generally, when you're shooting in your camera, what I like to do, especially for video, I like to take uh, my sharpen setting in camera all the way down, as far as I can go, because when you shoot with your sharpen all the way down, you can choose how much to sharpen, right? So if we're looking at her face, like this is a little dull. Generally, you want to sharpen it a little bit so you get more clarity, right? So let's see the difference before sharpen, after sharpen. You get a lot more detail, right? Noise reduction, we'll talk on a photo that has a lot of noise, which is this one. So I'm going to tell you, look at this. I'm going to teach you how to basically get rid of most of this noise. So this graininess is noise, and it's usually when a photo is underexposed, but this might be film. Like looking at the settings, I don't know if this is like actually the settings or not, but if someone shot this on a digital camera, it's pretty bad. So look at before, after. That is a sick photo, right? So enable profile corrections. So they shot on a Sigma f1.4. Sigma is a great lens. Art series is really great. Remove chromatic aberrations. That's just like there's fringing on certain photos, like when you have a lot of different colors and stuff. So vignetting, I never go white because it's just like, it's a little cheesy, you know what I mean? I've never really personally done that, but if that's something that you like, that's the look that you enjoy, go for it. I usually like to have a vignette like this. So if you look at the before, the after, it focuses your attention on the person. This is a personal preference. A lot of people actually don't enjoy vignetting. I personally love it. I think it's so friggin' cool. Because it draws your eye in. So if you turn the feather down, you can see it a lot. But what I like to do is I like to feather it maybe between like 60 and 100, depending on how much vignette I want, because I want it to be a nice smooth transition, right? And then midpoint, let's just show you what it looks like. So midpoint, you're just increasing and decreasing the size of it. Roundness, we can go like this, right? We can create kind of like a border with it if we wanted to, or we can have like a nice circular image right here, right? So there's a lot of different things that you can do with midpoint, but I usually just keep it to that. I don't know. That's a lot. I usually just keep it like this. I'll feather it out a lot. But yeah, look at your eye. This is the original photo. Overexposed, right? Bam. Exposure is correct. You're getting the colors that you want. And, you know, you can still get a bright, airy photo if you wanted to, right? You can still bring down the highlights and get a nice, airy photo, right? Let's say we didn't want that moody, like, Instagram-y vibe. Bam. Like, we bring up the highlights a little bit. We bring down the highlights, open up the exposure a little bit more. It's a pretty good photo still. I really like it. I like dark and this photo for some reason just screams dark and moody to me, right? And then calibration. I don't mess with this too often, but if you feel like something is a little off in your photo, and you know the greens are a little bit too green, or the greens are a little too purple, you can adjust this to correct. You know, so let's say my shadows are too magenta. I'm gonna bring it green. If my shadows are too green, I'm going to bring it more magenta. So I like that look. I don't know. I might just keep it somewhere in the middle. That's a good look too. I might keep it right there. And then you can change, right? So this is changing the reds and the oranges to more red or more orange. Just color correcting, right? And you can isolate specific parts of the photo. That is cool. That's really cool, right? So this is like a very stylized photo if you were to, right? That's pretty cool. But you can even go down, crush those reds. I don't know. I kind of like how it looks right now. I might even bring up the saturation a little bit and then go a little bit more red for the skin tone. That looks great. Boom. And then, yeah, this is like the green primary changing. So we can go a little bit more this way, right? Making the skin tone a little bit more red. Bam. And then it's just playing around with it, right? Just playing around with it, seeing what you like. Bam. So before, after. Before, after, right? And this might be a little too saturated for you, right? I don't know if I would actually go that saturated. I like muted but contrasty. So I might even go like more contrast, and then maybe if you wanted to go a little bit more Instagram-y, you go for more muted tones, something like that, right? Let's see what the original edit was. That was the original edit. That was the original edit versus I don't know. Personal preference, but this is, to me, is a very poor edit. Like, didn't change much with colors, mess with the HSL sliders. That's it. Didn't adjust. Like, even if the person that edited this, right? You brought down the exposure a little bit and then changed. That already looks amazing. Like, why didn't you change the exposure, dog? Look at that. Already so much better. Right? Bam. Or, yeah, get it moodier. Bam. And then hit that contrast a little bit. Boom. Look at that. Before, their edit, my edit. Right? Again, editing is personal preference. So let's just back all the way. Bam. That's a pretty sick edit. Definitely a little contrasted for me, I think. And I don't know if I would personally use the HSL sliders to that extent. I usually try to keep skin tones pretty similar, but yeah, I don't know. That's fine. Let's move on. All right, correcting photos that have a lot of noise. Super simple. We're not going to color this. I don't want to edit this photo. It's already just like not that great, but framing is okay. Yeah, it's an okay photo. So let's talk about noise. How do you fix a photo that has unbelievable amount of noise, right? Here we go. Let's see. Noise reduction, right? So super amazing, powerful slider. Oh my God, we might have to go pretty far with this. Right, before. And then now that we've done the... So I might not go that far. That might be a little much. So this is what it was. This is what it is now. Right? And then we can turn up the sharpening to make things look more... Let's see what it was before. Grainy, right? And then you can change the contrast a little bit, highlights down, shadows up. That's just how I like to edit. I don't know, it's okay. Yeah, I think I need to bring it up a little bit more here. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. But you definitely want to get good out of camera as best as you can. And then let's do, this is white, right? Woo! I might go a little bit more yellow because the vibe of the photo is so cool. You want to color correct first. Before you start editing anything, make sure you get the white balance, right? So make sure the whites are white. And then you can do anything you want to it, right? I don't know, this is an okay photo. If I was to take this photo personally, I'd probably... Yeah, I don't know, there's not much you can do with it. It's a pretty bad photo. Yeah, there's way too much noise. So try to get the best thing that you can get out of camera. Let's move on. Product photography. Let's first make sure that it's nice and straight, right? How do we want to do this? Cool. We'll just take the edge right there. Boom. Bam. Nice and straight for me. I don't know. It's not perfect, but it's good enough, right? I would have left a little more space on top. If you're doing product photography, I think this is good. He definitely had a light shooting onto the front of it, or her, whoever it is. And I would have left a little more space on top. I don't think this is the best product photography, but let's see what we can do with it, right? So here's the original photo. Let's reset it. Cool. And then so we definitely want to bring the exposure up a little bit. Contrast is already pretty heavy. Let's bring down the highlights, shadows up a little bit. I think having heavy contrast is what this person was going for. So let's do an edit that has a lot of contrast, right? There we go. That's looking good. So before, after, so far, right? We're getting a lot. We don't want to lose the details in the shadows here, so maybe we could bring the... Let's see how much info we have. Okay. Cool. So if you want something contrasted, this V shape, not bad, right? So this is for product photography. Like I said, I wanted to go through each type of photography that I could think of. So we have landscape, astral, portrait, and now we're doing, we'll do wedding as well. So clarity, a must for product photography. Let's bring down the whites, actually. I want the details of this label to be seen very well. Yeah, I don't want to blow out those details, right? So maybe dehaze a little bit. Give it a little more contrast. Bam, that's looking pretty good. Good, that's looking pretty good. I probably would have had a light on this side as well, shining onto this. I do like the contrast of color. But let's not forget about white balance, right? So if we were to be honest, this is probably what it would look like straight out of camera. If they were to get the white balance correct. I'm guessing this is like a sort of white. It might be a little bit more beige than that. So boom. Like, this is what I imagine this would actually look like, right? This label is definitely not white, but I feel like this is not entirely white. I think it was a little bit more yellow, maybe a little bit more blue. Yeah, so this is what I imagine the photo would have looked like straight out of camera. Let's see what we got so far. Huge improvement. Let's do... So with this, I think we want the whiskey, the yellows to be very popping, and we're gonna do orange and teal for sure for this one. So let's contrast it a little bit more. All right, that's a little much. All right. Cool. I definitely want the highlights to be a little more dulled out. So again, if you wanted to do Instagram, drag, crush those blacks. Super easy. Bam. You got an Instagram. Look at this. Done. It's an Instagram photo. If you want to be a little bit more professional, I mean, not professional, but if you want to be less Instagrammy, a lot of professional photographers actually deliver photos like that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's personal taste. Me personally, I like a little bit more contrast, but maybe crush it a little bit, right? That's a good look. And then let's play around with the sliders, see what we can do to this. Orange. Ooh, I like that. I like how red that gets. That's really cool. Yeah, we could even like create the difference and really make this dark red pop out. Ooh, okay, so this label is green. I think I want this label to pop as genuinely green. We're going to make aqua a little bit more green because the emphasis is on the green label, right? Cool. Let's do teal and orange. Let's not go too far, though. Let's bring down the luminance. Sorry, the saturation of the blue. Sorry, that was teal. I lied. And then let's bring down the darkness of the blue a little bit. Actually, no. I don't want to do it too much. All right, green. Yep, let's make this label pop a little bit more. So I'm going to bring luminance to that. I'm going to make it a little brighter. Yeah, I want this to really shine. Make it very poppy. All right. Ooh, I like that contrast in color. Yeah, make that a little bit brighter. Make this a little bit darker. All right, so here's what we got so far. Wow, huge difference, right? Like you wanna buy that drink, you wanna buy that drink, you wanna buy that drink, right? So saturation, we can turn up the saturation a little bit here. Yeah, I like that. I like that brown, like maroon color. So if we didn't want to go that colorful, we can go a little more dull. Have like a very rustic vibe, right? So we can bring down the, you know what? I'm going to bring down the saturation in this. So, you know what? I'm just going to edit like normal. I like contrast for these sort of things. So shadows. Do I want teal or orange? Let's just see what looks good. All right, so I want... I like that purple. I like how that purple looks a little bit. And let's see what we can get for the shadows. Oh, that's cool. I like that. Maybe a little yellow, maybe a little... Wait, what am I... Let's go to the color wheel. Let's just see. So, these are what I just chose. Purple and yellow. Am I good? Whoa! Purple and yellow! They just look great, man. I'm telling you. This is what it's all about. Using those contrasting colors, man. That is so funny. I can't believe I just got... I mean, I've been doing this for a little bit, but let's make it a little more purple. Oh man, that is looking. I would have honestly had a light right here, because if you look at this side, it's not popping. You might want to have a light on that wall in the background so that you can have a clear separation of where this starts and where it begins. So this is a decent product photography like photo, but I wouldn't say they're probably a little bit more amateur. I would have probably had maybe some barley, like if I was a professional, maybe some wheatgrass or some barley just on the side, maybe some grains, and then shoot top down a little bit more. Shooting straight on is really boring. Sometimes going from below is a little more interesting. FYI, bro, just a bit of an echo on your recording mic. I don't know how to get rid of that. Here, let me see. Mic. Okay, I think I got rid of the echo. So, let me know, Rich, if there is still an echo in my mic. Man, that sucks. I'm so sorry, guys. I didn't realize. Rich, let me know if the echo is gone or if it's still there. Thanks, bud. I appreciate it. So, boom. Let's see. This is before. This is after. A lot better, right? And then let's sharpen it up a little bit. And then let's see, maybe a little bit of noise reduction. I don't think it's necessary. Not too much if I need to do it. Remove chromatic aberrations. And then, all right, let's see what difference adding a vignette will do. Right? That looks awesome. I like that a lot. So feather all the way. Have that vignette. And then let's turn this up a little bit more. Bam. Yeah, that looks pretty decent. I'm not saying, so I would be tweaking this basically all day, and I don't want to spend too long doing this. All right, let's move on. Astrophotography. Let's get a move on. I know that I'm taking a little bit longer than I want on each photo. So what we can do, so if you have a preset, something that's cool about presets is you have these settings already in the photo. Let's say I want this. Bam. I have this curve already set. I have these settings already set. All I need to do is tweak it a little bit, right? Bring out the contrast a little bit. Maybe increase the color saturation, right? And then that's the great thing about presets is everything is already done for you. And all you need to do is just tweak it a little bit, right? Sharpen it up a little bit, and then maybe, let's see, we can go a little more warm, or we can go a little more cool, depending on your style, right? And then let's just bring up that contrast a little more. Bam. There's a lot of noise in this, so I might do a little bit more noise reduction. Right? Bam. That's a crispy image. Yeah, look at that. Took me 5 seconds with a preset, and then changing a couple things up. So, original. Bam. So that's the cool thing about having presets, is you take so much less time doing it. So if I was going to do this from the ground up, probably bring the exposure up. Generally, remember, you want the histogram to be in the middle. Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you letting me know that the mic had an echo. That's super weird. I don't know why that part turned on by itself. Highlights down, right? We really want to see those stars. And then if you want to see a little bit, it depends on how much you want to see of the back of the foreground, right? If you want it to be like a silhouette picture where you're emphasizing that, bam, that looks awesome, right? You can bring the whites down a little bit, and then bam, you have a silhouetted mountain, or you can bring that down. That looks amazing, right? And you can bring the shadows up, and you can create more of a foreground element, right? That looks really, really cool as well. So you could go, remember, you could do silhouette, right? Or you could do something like that where you have the foreground as well. With landscape, I really like turning up. Yeah. Look at it. These are popping now. Stars, bring all these little stars out that you couldn't really see. We're bringing those out. And then turn up the saturation. Maybe not too much. These reds are insane. I don't know if I like that. Yeah, I don't want those to be super, super red. Although, like, a brownish would be cool. And I like how the brown is in the sky as well. They definitely took this after sunset, not too long, or before sunrise. I'm not too sure. So I don't really like green. I don't know why. It just like makes photos look a little awkward to me. So I usually bring that green down into the yellow range a little bit more. And then, yeah, if you want a little teal in the sky, why not? Let's go a little bit more blue. Blue and purple. Why not? Let's try it. And we got no purples in the scene. We got no magentas in the scene. And then we can bring, yeah. And we can go for a little muted. We can emphasize the sky right here, right? We can bring these color tones out a little bit more. We're not focusing on the trees, so we can bring the saturation of the trees down a bit. Again, we're focusing on the sky, so we're trying to make everything colorful in the sky, right? Perfect. Boom. And then we can darken these tree trunks because we're not trying to focus on the tree trunks. And let's make this a little brighter. Yeah. Look at that. The sky looks so much more colorful now, right? And then we can darken the trees a little bit. We can make the sky a little bit brighter. Bam. This is looking pretty good. So this is what we got so far. Looks pretty good. Then we can do some split toning if you want. You can make the sky any color you want. You want to go little sci-fi? Dude, that's awesome. What's the opposite of red? Blue. I don't know. Let's look at the color wheel. Red, green. So let's go for green down here. Right? Maybe a little bit more blue. Bam. Look at that. And then you can make it more blue. You can make it more red. So before, after, right? You can do so much with this. So that's astrophotography. We're going to move on. All right. And then I actually want to show you graduated filters. All right. This is really cool. If you wanted the background, if you wanted the bottom to be a little bit darker, all you to do is just drop this in, and you can change this to whatever you want, right? So if I wanted just the bottom to be a little bit darker than the sky, I can create that contrast by making the exposure dark down here, right? And then emphasizing the sky, right? And then here's, let's say I wanted to create a specific circle in the sky that looked really cool, right? Like an oval, or maybe I wanted to emphasize, you know, a bright spot right there. Same thing. This is a radial filter right here, right? So you can go, you can make it dark. You can, like, maybe even almost like a reflection on the lake, right? And you can even like change the contrast, right? Totally different type of mood. You can change this, make it bigger, make it smaller. Yeah, even that looks really cool, right? So radial filter, interesting, right? And then we got the graduated filter as well to create the darkened scene up there. So 2 great tools. And if you wanted to, you can also use a brush, right? Brush is really interesting. I'm going to do a little bit more on that when we get to this photo right here. I'll teach you a little bit of retouching. This photo, I really want to touch on this photo. So this photo, you can tell the white balance is a little bit off, right? So let's reset. And then cancel, close that. So that's what the photo probably looked like out of camera if they got the proper white balance. So get your white balance first. Just this alone already made the photo an amazing starting point, right? And then maybe darken the scene a little bit, make the contrast a little higher, highlights down, shadows up, make the people pop, right? That's why I like to do highlights down, shadows up, and then more contrast, and then bam. There's a lot of colors in here, so we can bring the vibrance up. I like that. Let's make this a really colorful photo. Why not? And then let's have texture. Yeah, this is looking good. See how everything is in the middle in my histogram? Great starting point, right? We can change the color of everything. Let's make their skin color a little bit more orange. Yeah, there we go. And then let's do a Brandon Wolfel edit. I don't know if you guys know Brandon Wolfel, but he is, yeah. So this is a time that I'd probably want the greens to be very green. Yeah, I want the yellows to be yellows, green to be green, aqua to be aqua, and blue to be blue, right? Let's do aqua as... I want every color to be represented properly. Oh my god. This white balance was so off. Why not? Let's start saturating all the colors. So their skin color is red and orange. So we're going to bring the luminance up to make them pop a little bit more, right? And then we can have yellow. Let's just bring the saturation up of every color because we want this to be a very colorful scene. Maybe a less color on the blue. Bam. All these colors. Let's bring them up. Yellow, green, brighten everything up too. We're trying to make this a vivid, beautiful, celebratory image, right? And then let's just keep natural. I don't want to split tone this. Let's just keep everything looking nice and natural. We're going to sharpen a little bit. And then, okay, that's to take off the vignetting off of the Sigma lens. Damn, that was a lot of vignetting. I like doing post-crop vignetting. Like, I like putting in my own vignetting so I can choose the amount that I have versus following with that. So this is pretty good. Let's go a little Instagram-y for this one. Yeah. So we're going to bring that up, bring this down, bring this up. We're going to do a little S-curve here. All right, the whites are a little too bright here. Bam. And here you go. You got an Instagram photo. Look at that. Instagram. Before, after. Huge difference. Huge difference. Look at this. Basic editing. Get that white balance right, people. All right, let's go to wedding photo. Actually pretty good edit. This person, I actually really do like this edit. So they did everything very muted. Let's just look at their settings. So they didn't change much, honestly, I don't think. So let's see. See, very, very small S curve. I actually thought that this would have been higher a little bit, but it's not. So, yeah. Oh, wow. They actually brought the saturation down a ton. Wait, this is what it looked like out of camera? That's crazy. I'm so confused. Oh, no, they had the HSL sliders. Okay. So, yeah, they brought the saturation up on the colors that they wanted. So if you can see, they brought the blue saturation up, but they also brought the luminance down. This is really interesting. It's a good edit. It's a very muted edit. I don't prefer it. I think it's fine. I would probably, if I was to tweak this photo, let's just start from the beginning. We're doing, if you were to edit this photo from the beginning as a wedding photographer, all right, these should always be on. Like, you want to make sure that it's not compensated. Like that your image has already been compensated for the lens, because it bows. A lot of straight lines will be bowed because lenses are circular. So let's do a Brian wedding edit, right? So Brian wedding edit, I like things to be light and airy. So I would probably bring my exposure up a lot, right? And then contrast up, highlights down. Again, I want the people to pop, right? Bam. Good exposure. I like that. That looks good. Bring the whites down, blacks down. Good. And then they're not even in focus, actually. So this photographer is actually focused on the grass right here. Like, I don't know how you missed focus. Wait. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, you can see this grass is in focus, but the people aren't. I'm pixel peeping, but if you look at this guy's face, it's not in focus. Let's look. Yeah, that's super not in focus. That's really interesting. Yeah, if you're a photographer, you'll notice that. Please, if you're shooting photos, focus on the bride and the groom. That's just, pretty standard. So I'm probably going to bring the texture up, the clarity up a bit, right? Not too much. With wedding photos, you want to stay pretty nice and natural, right? So let's look at before. It's not working. Why is it not working? All right. So this is before, after. This is what we have so far. Good. I like to bring the vibrancy up because who wants to, I don't know, man. Like dull wedding photos, like, I don't know. Like, don't you want your wedding photos to be bright and airy? I don't know. Like, some people really like that muted, like, orangey kind of Instagram-y wedding photos. I don't know. I like things to be colorful and bright because weddings are supposed to be colorful and bright, Comment down below, like, what style of photos you really like. I'd love to see the people that inspire who you are and the people that you follow. So comment some links of people that you really enjoy below. I'd love to see who inspires you and the creators that you really love. Cool. And so I generally, their skin tones are very red. I don't like that. I like them to be a little bit more orange, right? And so I will usually take that, and now their skin tones are a little bit less, right? So red, a little bit more orange. I like that. So grass. Green, I don't know why. I'm just not a huge fan of green, right? So I'm going to bring this down a little bit. I like it to be warm. I like everything to be nice and warm. Oh, I forgot something. White dress. I needed to make sure that let's see. Yeah, they're super red now. Yeah, so I wanted to make sure that the dress is actually white. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Make sure the dress looks white, guys. Do color balance. Don't be like me. Do color balance first. The dress should be white. You don't want a yellow tinged dress. Just like make sure that it looks nice, all right? Yellow, I'm going to go a little bit more orange. Green. Yeah, I like that. Green, a little bit more. So actually something that you can do, something that I've been liking is you take green and you make it a little bit more turquoise. Very cool looking. And then let's see how far we can go. Yeah, I like this look a lot. I've been messing with this slider a lot more recently, and I just like, I really like it. I don't know why. Cool. So we got that. Let's bring the green saturation down a little bit, yellow saturation down a little bit, because we want the bride and the groom to be the focus, right? So we don't want this to be bright, right? We want to dull that a little bit because we want our focus on our subjects, the most important thing in this photo. So I'm going to bring down the blues. I do a little bit. Yeah, I do like a little bit of the muted, I guess, but I also do bright and airy. So their skin, definitely want it to be a little brighter, right? I want her to be brighter. And then we're darken the yellows, darken the greens a little bit more, and then darken the aqua, the blue. Good. The magentas, darken that a little bit, darken everything. Boom, 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 boom. Let's see, greens. Yeah, we'll go a little bit more. I actually like the way that green looks. I don't really want to go too teal with that. Maybe if I did this, let's see. And then saturation down. Yeah, I actually like that look a lot. And then dark greens. Yeah, because I want to separate the green and the yellows. And then let's see what we can do with the blues. Yeah, we want it light and airy, so going a little teal on that is okay. Little teal on the aqua. A little aqua on the aqua. And here we can do tone curve as well. So this is how I personally like to edit my photos, my wedding photos. I am trying to keep it nice and quick though. Boom. So this is like a rough edit of what I would do for a wedding photo. And I just think it looks really great. Let's make sure that the horizon is nice and straight. Nothing worse to me than a non-straight horizon. Let's see. Let's use this. I'm assuming that this is going to be the horizon, basically. Cool. Yeah, that looks good. Awesome. Yeah. And then maybe a little bit brighter on the face. Yeah, let's go all the way up. Yeah, perfect. Cool, cool, cool. And let's see what we can play with on the HSL sliders. Maybe we can make the sky a little bit more blue. Give it a little teal. We're going to do the stereotypical teal and orange for this one. But like not too much. We're not going to overdo it because we want it to look relatively natural still. Right? Awesome. That looks great. Cool. And then let's play with this a little bit. And then let's bring the blues down a little bit more. Bam. That looks great. I love this. This looks amazing. All right. Maybe contrast up a little bit more or less. Let's see. And then bring the exposure down a little bit. Maybe. Yeah. And then a little bit more color. All right. Cool. So this is basically what I would have. I would definitely, because I love vignette, I'd put a vignette in there, feather it out, right? Bam. Focused on them, right? So before edit, oh my God, it's not showing up for some reason. So let's say, so before, after, right? Pretty good edit. This is their edit and my edit. personal preference. They like the muted tones. I like things to be more poppy. I'm not done with this yet. If I was to turn this into a client, it's not finished. I would spend a lot more time honing everything in and tuning everything. Okay. Wedding photographers, you're all done. So I've done portrait, landscape, astral photography, right? Astral, product photography, fixing noise, just like a normal Instagram-y vibe. And, events. Duh. All right. This is underexposed. Let's do an event. Cool. I hope that this is 1/100th of a second. That's pretty slow. For events, I'd probably go a little bit faster. 1.8 as wide as they can, 45 millimeter ISO. Turn that ISO up. 400 is very low. Like you're shooting, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't choose these settings. I would at least have it at maybe 1/250th of a second, because you don't want motion blur in, their hand. You can obviously see there's slight motion blur right here. Not a fan of it. Let's see what we can do with it. So we're going to bring this out. We want to center everything, proper exposure, right? So contrast heavy for, yeah. All right, we're going to bring this up a little bit. We're not too worried about the contrast. We want the photo to be contrasted, right? We also want to see their face. So if you can see, kind of blurry because they had a slow shutter speed, right? We want to turn up the clarity and maybe a little dehaze here. I think the colors might be a little too much for my personal taste. Let's turn it up there. Yeah, cool. Let's go Instagram-y for this one too. We're going for the Instagram vibe. All right. I don't know if I like this crop. Oh, perfect. Actually, we're talking about Instagram. So in posting to Instagram, when you're cropping your photos, right? When you're cropping your photos, 4:5, right? 4x5 or 8x10. Press X on the keyboard for Windows. Bam. You ready? Look at this crop. That makes the photo look way better, right? Versus all this negative space, right? Or maybe even giving the guy a little bit more space, because this guy's in the background, that guy's in the center. I'd probably even go as far as to shrink this down a tiny bit and then like really focus on the main guy right here, but he's a background element. So this might be a crop that I'd go for. Again, let's go, cool. So normal S-curve. Yeah, we want these colors to pop. Let's bring this up like that. We want the whites to be real white here. All right, and then let's actually bring these shadows up a tiny bit more. Let's bring sharpening up. And then let's do a little noise reduction here. Make the image more crispy. Sharpening up a little bit more. Give it a little more texture. And let's bring, all right, too much. All right. So I have these colors popping, but I don't like that his face is super, super red, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go my HSL sliders. I'm going to bring, oh, no, that's the wrong one. I want to bring this down a little bit. I don't want it to be super, super, and I can even make this orange or even more red. I think I might want a little more skin tone right there, right? And then we can make these lights more dramatic by tweaking the colors. So we went a little more orange right here, and then we went a little more yellow right there. Let's pop these greens. Why not? Blue on a shirt. Why not? Let's make the colors pop a little bit more. Bam. Bam. All right, and then I want a little bit more contrast here, so yeah, I like that look. That's a nice look. Let's go more Instagram. Yeah, this is good. I like this. Actually, you know what? We're going to crop this guy out. I don't want that guy in it. Let's see. Maybe we can do just like a face, because the focus isn't on him, but let's have a little bit more space for this guy. Instagram crop. Bam, there you go. Let's say if we were to go big here, enlarge it all the way, right? And get that light in the background. That's pretty cool too. I like that. I think this photo is a little lopsided, I think. All right, cool. So that's a really basic edit for, what is this? Beginning, end, right? Obviously, we can do a lot more with it. We can brighten things up if we want, right? We can make all of these lights pop even more. We can saturate all these colors even more, right? But I don't want to spend too much time on each one because I'm already in an hour and a half right now. Cool. All right. So event photography, pretty straightforward. If you want that Instagram-y vibe, you can do split toning and stuff like that. Really basic edit. And then this is already a really good image. We'll just do a really quick edit of this because I like, let's say you really want a lot of contrast here. And you also want the texture in the wall to come out, right? Boom. What do we got so far? Already looking great. Maybe a little less on the whites. Let's tone curve this. And then let's mute those whites a little bit. I don't like that those whites are so blown out. Yeah. Let's make it a little moody. Why not? All right, cool. I actually like this. Maybe even black and white. Right? Maybe even black and white. Nope. Definitely not black and white. All right, texture up, clarity up. We want to emphasize those lines. Maybe make him a little bit more dull. I actually like the color of this already. Bam. Like that's a photo. Yeah, it's a cool photo. All right, let's move on. This is really cool. A really good photo to start off with already. Let's just do a quick edit of this. And then I'm going to, again, guys, while I'm editing this, please go into please send me your photos, like I said, at the end of the stream at 8:30 in 3 minutes. I'm going to take a quick bathroom break because I really got to pee. But I'll be back in like 2 seconds, and I'm going to give you guys an edit, and I want you guys to type in what kind of colors you're looking for. If you want like an Instagram-y vibe, if you like whatever you want, I'll do an edit for you in my style, and then I'll go by what you want for your brand and your style. So again, I left my links up here. It's on Facebook and YouTube. It's Brian at brianjoemultimedia.com is my email address where you can send the photo to. All right, and then Twitter. Twitter.com/bzmultimedia. Post on either one. I'm going to refresh those pages to double check, and I will download those and edit your photos. I'm hoping we get a few people to send in this stuff. If not, I'll do a couple more of these. I do want to hit this retouching photo right here when I get back from the bathroom as well. But let's just do a quick edit of this. Oh man, this is so awesome. I really like this. I really like this photo. We might be able... I really want to silhouette them a little. Yes. Yeah, that's amazing. Yep. That's amazing. I want to silhouette them. For sure. All right. And then let's go a little muted. And then let's see what we got here. I think I want the whites to be pretty white, right, for this picture. Huh. Let's see what we got so far. Bam. Bam. I really want the whites to come out. So, but I also don't want to crush them too much. Maybe darken that a little bit more. Yeah, I like the silhouette that they're creating, so I want to emphasize that. Honestly, this image is already really amazing. I think I'm ruining it, actually. And then we can change this up a little bit. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think the image is the way it is. It's already really good. I don't think you need to do much, just like the contrasting of the colors. If we wanted to go a little bit more... Yeah, I think I might have too much contrast in this image. Go a little softer. Yeah, I mean, that looks fine. I think it's great. Sure. Cool. All right. So it's 8:30. I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick, guys. And then I'm going to retouch this photo. And then I'm going to do your guys' photos. All right. Again, leave me in the comments. Let me know what you want me to do to the photo. And I'll create your own style of edit right now. All right. Be back in 2 seconds. Woo. All right, back. Let's edit some photos. Cool. So some basics on retouching. I'm not going to go super in depth with this one, but we'll just do like a really quick edit. Highlights down, up, get those eyes, right? Texture down a little bit to smooth her skin out, but also clarity a little bit up. And then we want her skin color to pop a little bit, and then maybe saturation down a tiny bit. So I'm just going to put in a preset of mine. This is my preset. And so when you have a preset, its settings are already there, but it's not going to be perfect. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that. Let's just do it from scratch. And then, so let's say I want to, smooth out her skin a little bit. This actually is focused on her hair. It's not even on her eyes. So, it's so funny, man. Photographers, people that are shooting, please focus. Eyes. Eyes, 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 eyes. When you're doing portraits, eyes. Gateway to the soul and everything. So we're going to do a really quick edit here. Perfect. I love this contrast already. Wow. Cool. Yeah. So we got before, after. That's where we're just going to keep it at. I'd probably also do flip it like this, right? Portraits just look better generally like that. I don't know. I wouldn't have cropped her top of her head out. I probably would have had it a little bit more extended here. So, tool. We're going to use the brush tool, okay? This is pretty intimidating, and this is not the correct, proper way to retouch people. Do Photoshop for that. I'm sure there's a million tutorials out there. I might do one myself in the future, but retouching isn't what I specialize in. So if you do want to do some basic retouching, I'll show you here. Texture down, clarity down, have your flow maybe around 10, whatever size you want, and then just brush over it slowly, and you're going to take away any imperfections right there, right? So we're slowly working the brush. The flow is on 10. Flow basically just means how aggressive, how much it applies the effect in each one, right? So we're going to do maybe a little bit down here, right? We're going to smooth everything out. And then, so when you smooth everything out, you might lose a little texture in the eyes and the eyebrows and nose and mouth. And you want to make sure that you have texture there. So let's look before and after, right? So boom, if we go a little closer, right, we can see the difference. Here, give me a second. Done. Boom. So look at it looks a lot smoother right here, right? So just, and then let's go back. Let's see what it looked like. So there, you can see that difference. It's a lot smoother. Again, this isn't the proper way to retouch. Do Photoshop for proper retouching. Okay, but you can see everything is a lot smoother. And then when you want to go back to make everything more clear, let's just raise the sharpen a little bit here. Good. See how the hair just starts to glisten? The hair just starts to glow right there when you sharpen things up a little bit. And same with her eyes. We want eyes, eyebrows, any facial features, you want to add a little bit more sharpness to that, a little bit more texture and clarity. So I'm going to keep these nice and low, and I'm going to brush over the eyebrow, the eyes, okay? So eyes, eyebrow. Again, like I said, this isn't the proper way to do it. And then hit the nose, and then the lips, right? Because remember, the photographer shot the photo, and it's focused on her hair, not her eyes, right? And I'm going to show you an easy way to retouch eyes as well in this photo. Karen Veer says, Portraiture is a pretty good tool for skin smoothing. Yeah, so skin smoothing, don't overdo it. I don't agree with how smooth some people make skin. Some people overdo it. I don't prefer to do it like that. But what you can do is you can also brighten things up, right? So look, I'm brightening her eyes and her mouth and her lips, and I might even add a little more saturation. And then I'm actually going to show you how to, look at that. So much better. Look, let's just do done. And let's see before the brush and after the brush, right? Small difference, but makes a difference, right? So if we go to the beginning of the photo, after, forgot to do that. I don't think it was that white. Perfect. Good. See how smooth her skin is? Like, it's just super basic retouching. So you want to make her eyes even more, poppy. Easy. All right. This is the easiest way that I personally do this. I don't know how many other photographers do this, but this is a simple way to brighten eyes and make them look piercing and amazing. So radial filter, right? You put the radial filter, move it on her eye, make sure that it's the exact size of her eye. Let's zoom in a little bit. All right. And then, whoop. And this, yeah, her eye's so out of focus. And then you just put it right over her eye, right? Super straightforward so far. And then let's use, we need to invert so it's just the eye. So you can see I'm brightening the eye up. That looks creepy, right? All right, don't do that. So when you're brightening eyes and making them look brighter and more sharp, a little bit goes a long way. If you go like this, it looks unnatural, okay? So a little bit goes a long way. Bam, 0.3 maybe. Let's add some contrast, maybe increase the highlights, right? Make the whites a little whiter, and then we can make her eye, let's do a little more contrast here. Bam. So let's look at the before and after of the radial filter. So before, after, really simple. Let's turn up the saturation, and we can make, all right, let's go back to that. All right, so I think it's a little too bright right there. So let's do, and we definitely want her eye to be nice and white. So some small color adjustments, and then maybe, bam, and then some fine color adjustments. Cool. So that's basic, and then all you gotta do is just right? I might have overdid it a little bit, but that's okay. You can go back and undo it, reduce the saturation a bit, right? Boom. And then maybe even, I think it might have been a little too bright. Done, right? And then if you want to transfer that to the other eye, actually, let's sharpen it up a little bit. You want the eyes to be nice and sharp. So clarity up, texture up, sharpness up. Perfect. And then let's copy this. Duplicate. Let's move it over here. Bam. Done. Like, this one is a little too bright, I think. But this is just basic retouching through Lightroom. I wouldn't suggest that this is the best way to do it. Obviously, go through... I think it's better to go through Photoshop when you're doing something like this. Sure, good enough. All right, so let's see the before and after, right? Skin's a lot smoother, eyes are popping a little bit more. Don't overdo the eyes. I think I overdid them a little bit here, but you get the basic idea. I'm just trying to teach you. If I were to perfect this, I'd probably spend a lot more time on it, right? So that's the basic. And if you want to make the pupils more pop more, you can, right? You can probably tweak the saturation a little bit. You could play with the colors, right? We want to invert, bring the colors up, saturation up, right? Maybe we can change her eye color, you know? We can just do small adjustments here. Whatever color you want, right? Pretty straightforward. And then let's say we wanted to make her eye a little bit bluer, right? Done. Look at that. Obviously, it's not perfect. I'm just kind of showing you what it's all about. And how did I get to that? Navigator. Yep. Cool. So this was the... All right, so like I said, if you wanted a little bit more color in her eye, you could do it. I'm not saying that this is a good edit. I'm just kind of showing you the basics, right? Cool. I'm going to go to Karen Veer's photo, and I'm going to download it. But so it is an Auckland mural. So let's download this and take a look at what it looks like on Twitter. Let's see if anyone tweeted me. All right. All right. Cool. So I'm going to open up Karen Veer's photo. And I hope that you guys got, if there's any other photos, just tell me which number down here you want me to edit, and I can kind of show you what it's all about. I'm pretty sure I've hit like basically all of it. We did portraits, we did weddings, we did basic Lightroom retouching, we did Instagram photo if we were to make it look nice and fun, product photography, portraits, landscape. I feel like we hit most of them. But let me see. Let's go to stream edits and then import this one. Cool. What do we got? All right, Karen Veer, let's see what you got, buddy. Nice. It's a cool photo. Depth of field is really shallow considering how far you are. ISO 100, 1.8. Okay, so it must have been a pretty bright day. Seems a little bit cloudy. 85 mil. With an 85 mil, I would probably be a little closer. With portraiture, there's a lot of negative space up here, and it's busy. I would say like maybe crop in a little bit. So if I was to shoot this photo, I would probably go as far as getting a proper portrait, right? Right there. Look at how Yeah, and she's actually pretty close to being I'm pretty sure you're focused on the wall, but it's very, very close. Like this eye is definitely out of focus. This eye might be in focus. It's almost there. It's really close. I'm also very cropped as well. So I would probably have, if I was taking portraiture, that's what I would do. But if you're going for the whole scene, that's cool. But if I was to edit this photo, remember we want to make sure that we get the whites, right? So this looks pretty white. Cool. Your white balance was pretty spot on. I don't think anything changed. Yeah, it like barely anything changed. So white balance, pretty spot on. Nice job. Exposure, actually pretty good as well. Nice. So I would go contrast, highlights. Is there any look that you want to the photo, Karen Bear? Do you want me to go Instagram-y? Do you want, like, what are the main colors that you want me to edit to this? Or did you just want me to do, she wanted the whole scene. Cool. All right, let's do the whole scene. Undo the crop, reset. Cool. Also, when you're taking a photo, don't crop off the feet, I would say, just because it looks like, where'd her feet go? So just stepping back a little bit more just to get those feet in for the whole body shot if you're going to do the wide angle. But like I said, if you're going to be in, cropping at the... Just go, Brian. He just wants me to edit. Got it. Cool, man. Little texture. Nice. Color is really good, dude. This is a really good photo. Yeah, skin tones. I want to see your edit. We can compare. You should send me your edit so we can do a back-to-back edit. We can see the differences in styles. I actually really like this being highly contrasted. I don't know if I want to go Instagram. We'll do a little bit Instagram. Yeah, I like that. Just a little bit. Just a little bit there. I really like how this is turning out already. Let's bring the whites down a little bit, maybe. No. Let's keep the whites up, but bring the exposure down. Perfect. I like that. That looks good so far. All right. So with this, my main focus is getting the skin color right first. I like a little redder lips. It's more flattering than, you know, gray lips. So we can go a little bit more red over there. Let's go blonder. Let's go blonder. And let's go... let's zoom out. Let's check out the greens. Cool. Cool. I actually like this being a little bit more purple. And then, do we have any magenta here? And then, okay, I don't see anything changing right there. And then let's go, yeah. Now we're back on the red. Let's make her lips a little bit more red. And then, nice. Okay. He doesn't want to show his photo. We'll compare later. Fair. So I want to make the face a little brighter so she pops a little bit more. I want to make her outfit pop a little bit more too. And I want her hair. I want her hair to be nice and bright as well. Nice. I think that's looking pretty good so far. Yeah, I like that a lot. So since you're not really, really close to the face, I feel like it's good to go a little bit more texture and a little bit more clarity, right? Because you're seeing this a lot of the scene as well. I would probably bring everything else down because I want her to pop, right? So again, we're trying to make her pop because she's the most important part of the scene, right? All right, let's see what it looks like. Nice. This looks really good. It might be a little too saturated for my taste. Let's go down a tiny bit. And then I'm going to brush her and make her a little brighter, I think. I think a normal tone would be fine with this. Maybe a little less than that. Maybe... Cool. All right. I like that a lot. Let's go. Let's sharpen this up a little bit. And then let's see what we can do with this. We're going a little moody here. Let's go. All right. See the difference. Yeah, I like that. Cool. Let's go a little bit more magenta right there. And then let's do my favorite, a little vignette. Just a little bit to focus on her. Let's actually bring down the luminance on her face a little bit. Less saturation. She's a little bright. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little radial filter. So she is a little bit brighter, right? And then we can bring down the exposure. And then I'm going to have her be a little bit more bright. But I don't want her face to be blown out either. All right, I think I'm pretty close to being done. So before and then after. Yeah, I mean, this is a snapshot. So that's basically what I would probably edit that as. This doesn't fit my personal like Instagram style. But this is like what I imagined the photo to be. Like she wanted the background, she probably wanted all the color. With her idea in mind, this is probably the way that I would edit it, where she's pops out, the background's a little. I might even put more vignette in. And then maybe even make her pop a little bit more, and then I'll make the background a little bit darker. Yeah, so this is probably like, this is pretty close to what I want, I think. So all right, that's basically it. I don't think anyone had sent anything else in. I appreciate you guys watching along. I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your Saturday to check out the stream and learn a little bit of photo editing and stuff like that. And I hope that what I showed you today has given you, a lot of information to work off of and become a better photo editor. And there's a ton of these sliders on the side. And like I said, I have my own company. Check out all my my Instagram, my Twitter, my Facebook. I'll have those links after I finish streaming. And also, if you guys need any coaching, want me to make you any presets, reach out to me for any business inquiries. Reach out to me. I'd love to help you guys out. And yeah, I just love the passion. I love shooting photos. I love creating brands and photos and content that people can be proud of to show, on their Instagram, to be consistent with their work. And yeah, I don't want to talk anymore. But thank you guys so much again. If you watch this after the fact, after the live stream, I really appreciate it. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon. Shoot me a message. I'd love to help you out whenever. So cool. All right, peace out, guys. Have a